So a couple of days ago, I made a video discussing with you guys the 5 games that I hope to see revealed at E3 next month. It's literally like 4 or 5 weeks from now, you guys, E3 2019. So exciting. A lot of people are starting to get hyped. And something that I did, which I usually like to do around E3 time, is to discuss games that are kind of like on my wish list. Games that I hope turn out to be a reality, that I hope certain companies reveal, usually sequels in well-established franchises. And it's a lot of fun, had a lot of great games to talk about, but this time I wanted to follow that up with a video of games that we already know about. These are already confirmed games, titles that we've already maybe seen trailers or reveal previews for. And now with E3 coming, these are games that I hope to learn more about and to see more about at E3. Now, what's interesting and kind of funny about it is I tried my damnedest to parse this list down to just 5 games to do the same thing I did with the last video. 5 games I hope to see revealed. This video was going to be 5 games I want to learn more about that are already revealed. And I just couldn't do it. There are too many games that we already know about, and then I am really excited to learn more about at E3. So we don't know how much time is going to be spent on all of these games from all the different companies and presentations, but there's a chance that any of these games get some time spent on them. And so instead of 5, I decided to just make this list 10 games. So 10 games that I hope to learn more about at E3. And so coming in at number 10 is going to be Gears of War 5. Gears of War 5 comes in at number 10, mostly because I don't think that there's a whole lot we need to necessarily learn about this game. I think we know what to expect. It's going to be a typical Gears game, a Gears experience. It's going to be, over the top, third-person shooting bloody action with lancers and chainsaws, and you're just killing a bunch of locusts, and it's probably just going to be great. So I don't necessarily need or want any sort of major surprises or shakeups to the gameplay. I just want to see another kick-ass 5th Gears of War game. And you could say 6th if you want to count Judgment. I know most people hate that game, and it really wasn't all that good, but it also wasn't all that bad either. It was really just kind of average. And so, I don't know, I'm a sucker for everything that makes up Gears of War. I love shooters like this. I think the first game is one of the best shooters I've ever played, and it really kind of set the stage for where shooters were going to go over the course of the following 10 years when it came out in 2006. So yeah, I love Gears, and I can't wait to learn more about Gears 5. Now, coming in at number 9 is Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. And what needs to be said about this, man? It's a Marvel game. It's Ultimate Alliance returning for the first time in, I think, well over a decade. And also exclusive to the Switch. What a crazy cool surprise. And, here we are in the weeks following the release of Avengers Endgame, so the Marvel and the Avengers hype is real. Endgame, by the way, was absolutely fantastic. Made me tear up many, many times. Loved it. Yeah, there's some flaws and with some things, and like this, the aspect of time travel. Spoiler alert, I guess. You could kind of break down some of that and find some mistakes they made. But at the end of the day, the whole package was fantastic. And so either way, forget Avengers. When it comes to this game, Marvel Ultimate Alliance, it's just a great top-down dungeon crawling kind of beat 'em up co-op action game, man. And I think it's going to be great to see what they do with the Marvel license in this series in a post-MCU world. If you remember, I'm pretty sure that when Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2 came out, that was, I want to say, like 06, 07, probably before Iron Man, so I don't even think there was an MCU at that time. Think about that. That's really crazy when you consider that the last time we saw this game was before there was an MCU. Now here we are. The MCU is the hottest thing on the frickin' planet, and they just wrapped it up with Avengers Endgame, and now comes Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. They're actually bringing the X-Men back, which is great to see after Capcom dropped the ball with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. It's going to be the perfect, awesome co-op multiplayer game. Going to be great on the Nintendo Switch. I can't wait to play as Wolverine and Storm, so this comes in for me at number 9. At number 8 is Luigi's Mansion 3, because as I've discussed, even pretty recently on my videos, I am a massive fan of the first Luigi's Mansion, and I did enjoy Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon on the 3DS as well. But with Luigi's Mansion 3, it's coming to the Nintendo Switch, which again just makes every game inherently a little bit more exciting because there's a whole different way we can play a game on the Switch. And I just love the fact that Nintendo is revisiting this franchise. They didn't just leave it in the dust and call it good after 2 releases. And, you know, also more similar to what I said with Gears of War 5, I don't necessarily need a lot of new things or elements or gameplay mechanics added to Luigi's Mansion 3. I'll happily welcome them, and it does get me a little bit exciting to think about some changes, but overall, I don't need much out of Luigi's Mansion. I just want it to be similar to what the first game was. I would just like it if it's one mansion. I don't need a bunch of smaller mansions like Dark Moon was. Give me one mansion that's, you know, 3-4 times the size of that first game's mansion, and the same visual style, the same kind of jokey humor. I mean, everything we've already seen from the 30-second trailer, and I'm good. I mean, that's all I need out of it. I am so effing pumped for this game, and so that's why it comes in at number 8. Coming in at number 7 was a very tricky game for me to place, and that is Beyond Good and Evil 2. Now, this one is tricky because this game is just weird. It's not really the Beyond Good and Evil sequel that most of us had been waiting for 15 years. That being said, it is still exciting. It is neat to know that something in this universe is continuing, and after all this waiting, eventually Ubisoft did confirm this game is real. And they did also, with the second major trailer that they released last year, they did confirm that Jade from the original game is appearing in this game, which to me completely changes the context of whatever story they're trying to tell. Initially, when the game was first revealed, it was supposed to be a prequel set before Jade was even born, and featuring her mother in some sort of role, on top of the fact that you're also making your own individual character to play through this big multiplayer online world kind of thing. I don't know, it's so strange what's going on with this game. But that being said, like I said, I am still excited for a sequel to one of my all-time top 10 favorite games, Beyond Good and Evil. And I'm just very curious to learn what's going on with the mystery of how there is a story and how Jade suddenly is involved in the game when initially they said she wasn't going to be. I think they clearly changed that to appease some of the fans, which was very smart. And so if this game was more the sequel to the first game that we wanted, it would literally be number 1 on this list. But since it's doing a bunch of weird things, it is still on the list, but it comes in here at number 7. At number 6 is Doom Eternal. Not really much to say on this one. I think we all know why this game is exciting, because it's going to be just more kick-ass, ridiculous, bloody, fast-paced action. And what they're doing with this sequel, it seems, is exactly what a good sequel should do. Take the base level elements of the first game that made it so good for whatever reason, and then just make slight tweaks and improvements. And with a game like a first-person shooter, all you need to do is add cool new weapons and offensive capabilities, and that seems to be what they're doing. It looks beautiful. It just looks like everything we want. Obviously, very excited that this game is releasing on the Nintendo Switch day and date with the other versions. As of now, there's a chance that this game, not only does it maybe get delayed to 2020, but there is a chance that with the Switch version, they may have to delay it, and it might not release day and date. We know that that's always a risk. But for now, it's stated as a 2019 game, and it is also stated that the Switch version will release alongside the others. So I thought the first one was an absolute masterpiece, one of my very favorite games of 2016, one of my favorite games of the generation, and so Doom Eternal I simply can't wait for. Now we're cracking into the top 5, and at number 5 is a very weird choice, and that is Fire Emblem Three Houses. Now, the reason I say that it's weird is because I initially thought that I was maybe more excited for like Luigi's Mansion on the Nintendo Switch, for example, than I was for Fire Emblem. However, over the past couple of weeks, the more I started to think about it, I think that I'm actually a little bit more excited for Fire Emblem because I love that franchise. There's going to be a lot more depth and strategy to that gameplay, a lot more story, and it's also sooner, to be fair. It's actually coming a lot quicker than we expect Luigi's Mansion to come. That's got a release date already of July 26th, I believe. Luigi's Mansion still doesn't have an exact date, so it may get delayed to 2020. Probably not, so it's probably going to be a fall release. You know, we'd expect that maybe around Halloween. Fire Emblem, though, is really only a couple of months away, and there is actually a lot about the intricacies of the gameplay that we don't know and that I do want to understand. And one of the recent Nintendo Directs, they did a great job of actually blowing the doors open on the story and the context of Fire Emblem, but they still really didn't touch the gameplay and the changing of the mechanics to the combat and your armies and your battalions and all this stuff. I don't know, I'm very, very excited for it. So that game has actually shot up the charts for my hype level the past couple of weeks, and so for me it comes in at number 5. Now at number 4 is a game that still doesn't have a release date, and so there's a chance that Nintendo won't talk about it at E3, but on the off chance that they do, I'm putting it on this list, and that is Bayonetta 3 man, we really need to see this game in action. There's so much that we need to understand about it. We've seen nothing of it, really, if you think about it. That little 20-second reveal trailer thing, all that showed was just some kind of CGI stuff of her shooting in the dark, and very reminiscent of when they first revealed Bayonetta 2 as well. No context to the actual game. You know, has she changed her look and her style in this game? I'm assuming so. Is Jean going to somehow be involved again? I'm assuming so. But what does this game also look like? What are they doing to change it? They went from 0 to 60 so fast, going from Bayonetta 1 to Bayonetta 2. It was incredible how much they improved on that game with the second one. And I'm hoping to see the same thing going into this third one now. And knowing that it's going to be playable on the Switch, I just can't wait to see some of the best action ever. And, you know, coming off of this year's Devil May Cry 5, which came out a couple of months ago, which I did play, I did complete, and I did enjoy. The thing is, with Devil May Cry 5, the more I played it, the more I realized that there are problems with the controls of that game, and it made me miss Bayonetta more and more as I played it. I did, again, I'm not slamming Devil May Cry 5 because in its own bubble as its own game, it's really good. But when you compare it to the best of the games in this genre, Bayonetta 2 came out, 5 years ago, and I think it's twice the game Devil May Cry 5 is. And so I'm hoping that Bayonetta 3 becomes twice the game Bayonetta 2 was, which means it's going to just completely bury Devil May Cry 5 in terms of quality and gameplay and playability and action and just everything. So pumped for Bayonetta 3, so I'm really hoping it shows up this year. Now, at number 3 is a long shot title, but I really want to start understanding what's going on with this game, and that is Halo Infinite. Now, I have some theories when it comes to Halo Infinite. One of the big ones is really surrounding the release, and I think that this game is guaranteed to launch the next Xbox, and that could mean that it's cross-generational. I know people really want to get into heated debates over that concept, you know, saying, oh, it's definitely going to launch on the Xbox One, why would they not, yada yada, and that's fine. Maybe it launches on the Xbox One, sure, but I really think it's going to be a launch for the next Xbox. You know, cross-generational or not, it's going to happen. It makes so much sense. And I kind of want to believe that there's like a persistent online world kind of thing going on with Infinite, where they're trying to sort of borrow from some of the template that Destiny did. Maybe, but that's just kind of a random off-the-wall prediction that could go either way. I might be wrong on that. But even if it is that, the thing that we do know about it is still effectively Halo 6. They have absolutely confirmed that Halo Infinite is the same as Halo 6. So there has to be some sort of story to this game. Master Chief's story has to continue. And Cortana's story. I mean, what the hell is going on with Cortana at the end of Halo 5? Like, I really want to know. And so this game, whether it's online or not, is going to still have to continue the story from Halo 5. And that's part of the reason I'm so excited for it. Yeah, Halo 5's story really wasn't all that great, but I still liked Halo 5 overall as a game. The multiplayer was the best it's been since Halo Reach, in my opinion. I'm very, very pumped and very curious about Halo Infinite. What's going on? What console is it releasing on? What does it look like? What are they changing and adding to it? Where is the story going? All of this stuff. So it's very high on my list at number 3. At number 2 is a game that has been in the dark for far too long, and I'm over it, man. I'm sick of it. We gotta see this game, and that is Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Where the hell is this game, man? It was revealed like 2 or 3 years ago at this point at one of Microsoft's E3 showings, and it was so exciting to know a sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest was coming, and it's like just disappeared. Where is this game? What's going on? Ori and the Blind Forest, man, I gotta tell you guys, really one of the best games of the generation, and I've stated this before, I think it is the absolute best Metroidvania type of game that isn't a Metroid or a Castlevania game. A lot of people say, oh, what are great Metroidvania games? What do you think is the best Metroidvania game? And to me, a Metroidvania has to not be either Metroid or Castlevania, and so as far as Metroidvania games go, to me, Ori is the undisputed king, Ori and the Blind Forest. And so, that brings us to Ori and the Will of the Wisps. So freaking pumped. We've seen just a couple of gameplay trailers. We haven't seen any actual gameplay, no confirmations of date. Hell, no confirmations of release platform. Things are so weird right now with Microsoft and Microsoft Studios publish stuff and their relationship with Nintendo, what's going on, things like Cuphead, rumors of Ori and the Blind Forest. There's so much going on that for all we know, this game does release on more than just Xbox. It might not be exclusive to Xbox, as crazy as that sounds. So who knows what's going to happen. All I know is I need this game in my life, you guys. I need this sequel to Ori and the Blind Forest. I can't get over how great that game is and how much better a sequel could possibly be. I don't know, man. I just think that this year at E3 has to be the time Microsoft show us this damn game. And so coming in at number 1 is another game that has a really good shot at actually not showing up at the show, because this game is so far off, who even knows when we're going to see about it. But I do have to include it on this list solely because there is that chance it shows up, and that is The Elder Scrolls 6. Now, we really know nothing about this game other than the fact that it's being created. As we all know, at E3 last year, Bethesda actually did confirm that it is being made. That was a huge bombshell announcement, even though it's one of those things where, like, you already kind of know by default that, yeah, Bethesda's making the next Elder Scrolls game. We got it, you know. They did Fallout 4 already. We know that Elder Scrolls has to be the next thing. Fallout 76, obviously, that's a whole disaster they're trying to deal with still. But, you know, now it's time for the Elder Scrolls, man. And this game, I think, is probably almost definitely going to be a next-generation game. I think they might have even said it needs to be on next-generation hardware. And so, yeah, this game might not be releasing for another 4 years. Probably too early to see it, but I'm just going to hold on to a little bit of hope that maybe there's something they can show us. And for all we know, they surprise us and it is ready to release sooner than we think. They did do that with Fallout 4, if you remember, during that reveal. But I still don't really think so. I want to put it on this list, but I have to be honest with you guys. I don't expect to see it this year. But that mystery about it is what makes it so exciting. And, you know, I love the Elder Scrolls games. I thought Oblivion and Skyrim are fantastic, and I want to know where a new modern version of Elder Scrolls can go. Here's the thing. I like the really buggy, glitchy engine that Bethesda uses for Fallout and Elder Scrolls. I know they're glitchy, but I kind of don't care because I still really enjoy them. However, I'll be very excited to see if they finally do change their engine and actually improve on it and find a way to make it feel a little bit more natural and organic feeling and not so jarring like you're in a super fake world and have all these dumb glitches and stuff. I mean, I really am hoping for that. And so even though we know it's not going to be showing up, it's still the number 1 game for me, The Elder Scrolls 6. Come on, Bethesda, show us this game at E3 this year. Obviously, this is a weird year because of the lack of Sony. You know, there are games that I would have loved to include on this list from Sony, like Death Stranding, Ghost of Tsushima, and then, of course, The Last of Us 2. That probably would have made number 1 on my list, to tell you the truth, you guys, because I'm very excited for those games, but Sony's not attending, so I couldn't include any of those 3, unfortunately. Or even, you know, some of the other stuff they just showed at State of Play, like the Medieval remake, Final Fantasy VII, stuff like that. What are you going to do? Sony's being weird this year, probably because they're preparing to drop the PS5 info next year. And that's fine. There's still, I mean, again, I wanted to make this 5, and I couldn't even do that without Sony coming to the show. That's how many great games there were. So this is my list of 10 games. What do you guys think? What did you think of the 10 games that I brought up? And what are games you're the most excited to learn about at E3 this year? Again, it's only a month away, you guys, so it's time to get hyped. And with that, this video is a wrap. Thanks, of course, as always, for tuning in, guys. This is Rob of Ro2R, and I'll catch you next time on another video.